Number 16, Oklahoma at Cincinnati. That's the big noon game, noon Eastern on Fox. Don't mind my Oklahoma Sooners. Pay us no mind. Dylan Gabriel, 83% completion rate, 10 yards per drop back, 11-1 TD to INT ratio. But don't pay him no mind. Remember, Oklahoma ain't played nobody. That's what y'all tell me, right? That's what y'all tell me. Arkansas State ain't nobody. SMU ain't nobody. You know, Tulsa ain't nobody. Okay, cool. Don't pay no attention to a team that's averaging 56 a game and has put up 66 or more twice in 3 games. Don't do that. Defense has given up 9 points a game and had 5 interceptions in 1 game of football. Pay them no mind. Pay that storm surging on the horizon called Oklahoma no mind. Pay the pro team in the state of Oklahoma no mind. I'll remind you the last time that Conestoga rolled through the state of Ohio, Baker Mayfield left a piece of laundry in the middle of the chute. And you Cincinnati. All right. Keep doubting. Keep doubting. You know what? That's what we do at Oklahoma. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because when people expect us to be good, we usually ain't that good. It's been, 23 years since we won a national championship. But I refuse to be negative about this team. I refuse. You're not going to steal my joy, Satan. I'm going to say glory and hallelujah. Next, Oklahoma is the pick here, in case you didn't already know. All right. Oklahoma over Cincinnati, since we got that straight. Okay, next on the list here, number 22, UCLA at number 11, Utah. That game's at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Big Fox. This is the Dante Moore game for me. Okay? Dante Moore is averaging 19.2 yards per completion and has a 7-1 TD to INT ratio. And God bless Chip Kelly for letting Ethan Garbage try to win this job away from this dude. But Dante is him. Okay? I didn't think he would go right away, be like, oh man, you on that DTR, aren't you? He is. He's a dude. He is they're going to go into, Salt Lake and we're going to see what it is. But like knowing what Florida just did to Tennessee and knowing that Utah beat that Florida team without Cam Rising, man, I had to give myself a little bit of breath here to breathe and say, what would Utah be if Cam Rising gets to play? Because he ain't played all year. But I still like what UCLA has been here. And Chip Kelly with a quarterback, that's NWA, dog. That's 9 wins assumed. He got a quarterback. He got a true freshman that can sling it. Now, Cam Rising comes back. That matters. Their defense giving up all of 10.3 points per game at Utah. That matters too. But I'm going to pick UCLA because I think in this sport that we love so much, if you got an offense that can go score, it will go score because football is an offensive sport. From the snap count to the line of scrimmage to the way we score the game. Okay? We win championships by stopping people. We win games by overscoring people. And I think UCLA is going to outscore Utah in this one. I'm picking them in the upset. Next on the list for me, number 15, Ole Miss at number 13, Alabama. It ain't just that Lane Kiffin is a former Alabama assistant. It's that he's a former Alabama coordinator. And his defensive coordinator, Pete Golding, is also a former Alabama coordinator. I don't think that there are 2 men in the world that want to beat Nick Saban more than Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding put together, okay? Golding was in Tuscaloosa last year, and he was brought there because he's running the same kind of defense that Dave Aranda was running at LSU 2019, right? A lot of simulated pressures, 3-4 front look, made Aranda a household name over there, and I think he's still a really great coordinator. Quinshon Judkins and Jackson Dart might rush for 50 times in this game against Alabama because I didn't know that Jackson Dart had it in his bag to be running away from people. Like when he was at USC coming out as National Gatorade Player of the Year, it was about slinging the rock. Now he can sling it and run it, and Quinshon Judkins is that dude in the SEC at tailback. Now, game is in Tuscaloosa. I get that. Jalen Milroe is going to be the starter. That gives them a chance because all Jalen got to do is what Graham Mertz did against Tennessee. Don't throw the football to the other team. Now, it's a little bit harder to do than it is to say, but Jalen gives Alabama an edge that they had when Jalen Hurts was there. And I think that's the way you should really look at Jalen Milroe in this year's Jalen Hurts in 2016. That's what the ceiling is. If he learns to take care of the ball, he learns to get rid of the ball, they're going to be fine. But Jalen got to go after 2 claps. After 2 claps, the ball got to be gone or you got to be gone because the offensive line is doing what they should because they're getting pressure on him with 3 because he's just standing back there. You can't do that. And not for nothing, but at KD, that dude was not exactly scanning the field. He went 1 read, 2 read, gone. And if you go watch his huddle film, it's a lot of that. Alabama's front 7, though, is a legitimate nightmare. It is nightmare fuel over there. Deontay Lawson, Dallas Turner are terrifying, but put some Kool-Aid in that secondary, sprinkle some sugar to get a little Malachi Moore, smack it with your granddaddy's yak, and you got a defense hitting like an ox. What they did against South Florida, that's overlooked because the quarterback play was so bad. But if you're watching Alabama, you'll know that this is Nick Saban's football team. This is the one that he likes. He likes it when the offense runs the football, and he likes it when the defense is a damn curtain, a damn steel curtain. I think that they're going to be good. They might not be what they were in 2020, but, every year Alabama's supposed to be the best team that ever lived. It ain't going to be like that every year. Here, you got 1 loss. You might have 2 because I'm picking Ole Miss upset, but you get my point here, right? Alabama's going to figure it out. Nick Saban's going to figure it out. And then next year, they're going to be juggernauts again because this team is so young. They're feeling it out. They're finding out what they are capable of and what they're not. And by the time they got to play LSU, look out because, don't nobody like getting one back like Nick Saban like getting one back. Hello. Again, I'm picking Ole Miss in the upset here. I like them from a defensive standpoint, from a schematic standpoint, and they'll be able to run the ball just as well as Alabama. Next on the docket for us, number 24, Iowa at number 7, Penn State. Perhaps the 2 best defenses in the Big Ten going at it, which means that this game is going to be about which quarterback takes better care of the ball, Cade McNamara or Drew Allen, okay? I tend to believe that both of those quarterbacks are going to make a mistake that leads to 6. Maybe it's pick 6. Maybe it's a forced fumble of some sort, but I think they're going to make a mistake, which means that I'm going to look to the tailbacks to try to put these things to get away. And I'm looking and I just remembered I ain't seen single him all year. Not one time. I didn't see Nick Singleton. 36 rushes for 150 yards, 154 yards, 5 TDs this season. But I ain't seen single him. That dude that I was telling you about a couple years ago coming out of high school, he ain't showed up yet. But I'm looking for single him to announce himself like the lag on my MR2 Spider. It's turbo, on that mid-engine car. You don't want me. You don't want me. I got a go-kart like Nick Singleton. Ready to go. Turn up, Nick. This is the game for which I want to see single him. Hand that ball to the boy in the back wearing 10 and ride him. And then look at the defense, man. Abdul Carter, Stick City, that's a dude. We can keep going on about Johnny Dixon. We can keep going on about Kalen King. We can go on about Manny Diaz's defense, and we can go further about Phil Parker's defense. But it's going to be about who can run the football and which quarterbacks can take care of the football. Same stuff, different day, and as far as we understand football. But this game is also really pivotal for Iowa because we're not just talking about them moving up in the rankings, knocking out a potential CFP team in Penn State, but this is the only game on the schedule for which they ought to not be favored. Everything else, they should be favored to win, which means if they upset Penn State in this game, it should be clear sailing, not just to the Big Ten championship, but with a spot in the college football playoff on the line because they're going to get Ohio State or Michigan. Iowa, sell out. Sell out to win this game. That said, I'm picking Penn State. I'm picking Penn State, right? I'm going to go chalk on this. I think that they're much more talented. I think it's the most talented team that James Franklin's had in 10 years in Happy Valley. That's no small thing. Remember, he had Micah Parsons on a team at one point, Saquon Barkley on a team at one point, and yet this team I think is more talented. So I'm going to pick Penn State in this one, but Iowa gets the upset. I'm not going to turn nothing down but this turtleneck. You know what I'm saying? All right. Number 14, Oregon State at number 21, Washington State. Again, sneaky good Pac-12 game. Cam Ward has a better total QBR than Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. And they putting up over 530 yards of offensive game at Wazoo. Now, they beat up on Wisconsin, right? Put 31 up on them. Put 64 up on Northern Colorado. But the game that I'm still looking at is the 50 they put up on Colorado State, who wasn't nobody until last Saturday. Everybody thought they were just bad, myself included. Turns out, no. They put 50 up on a team that Colorado could put 43 up on in double overtime. Okay? They average a 48.3 a game, but that Oregon State defense is still just tough. They're giving up 11 a game. And with DJ Uiagalelei and Damian Martinez running the ball, they look like the kind of team that could sneak in and just win the Pac-12 the way that Utah did last year and the year before that, because they finally got a dude at quarterback who makes them great. I think this is going to be a lot of fun because nobody expected much from Wazoo and Oregon State, especially this year, as they are the last two remaining Pac-12 members, but they're kind of joined at the hip and trying to fight the rest of the Pac-12 for ownership of the Pac-12. And I think this is going to be a fun game because, well, whoever wins it, probably going to be the heir apparent to what's left of the Pac-12 and or maybe even the Mountain West, but we're getting too far ahead on ourselves there. I'm looking forward to Cam Ward being able to throw the ball down the field, but I'm also going to say that dude is prone to putting the ball on the floor, throwing it to the other team, such as the nature of the offense. So I'm going to be watching turnovers in this game as much as anything else. I'm going to pick Wazoo because I think, again, if you got an offense that can go score, you can put 21 up on people in a hurry as opposed to, say, running the football down 14. That's hard. That's tough. So if Oregon State doesn't play with the lead or they find themselves more than a TD behind, look out. Wazoo might get the upset on this one too. Again, picking Wazoo in this one. We'll see how it goes. Finally, last game we got to get to on this Saturday. Number 4 Florida State travels to Death Valley in Clemson. I don't know what to do with Florida State. We've established it is not the number 4 team in the country to me. And it has never been the number 4 team in the country to me. And the team they beat and get so much credit for, LSU, was never in the top 5 for me. They began at 14. I got a hard time moving them past 10. So I'm looking at Florida State, who got that win against LSU, but also just barely beat Boston College, who also nearly lost to Holy Cross. Tell me what you want about Jordan Travis. Tell me what you want about Keon Coleman. Tell me what you want about Jared Verse. Tell me what you want about Jaheim Bell. You should not be in a dogfight with Boston College, especially when you were up 31-10. And now you want me to trust you to go into Death Valley against a Clemson team that's been dogged out and expect me to pick you? Well, we've established that. I'm picking Clemson. But you understand my point here. Clemson lost a weird game, 28-7 to Duke. Turns out Duke is good. We learned that. And Clemson was not as bad as the score would indicate. Cade Klubnik played the worst game I've ever seen him play. Hadn't played like that since. However, now that Dabo Swinney gets to go back to calling them little old Clemson and nobody expects anything from, and I'm the only person willing to rank them. Imagine that. We live in a world. This is my objectivity on display. Those of y'all to go back with me understand where I'm coming from when I say this. I ranked Clemson when nobody else would in week 4 because I think it's a good football team. Just sit with that for a while. I rank Clemson. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to pick Clemson to upset Florida State, but I don't think Florida State's that good. Now, Florida State goes and get that win. I'll be the first person to tell you about it right here on the number 1 college football show. But put it another way. Put 2023 Oklahoma up against 2023 Florida State and tell me you pick a Florida State. You a bold-faced lie. You a bold-faced lie. Clemson, that's my pick. Thank you for watching the number 1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.